All right, so hello everyone. Thanks so much for joining us today. We're gonna have a really amazing conversation lined up with Malik Yusef, 5-time Grammy Award-winning artist, poet, songwriter, and producer. Also joined by 6-time, my apologies, 6-time. We're also joined by his friends Jerome and Nelson. So thank you all for being here. Really excited to chat with all of you. And if you're listening right now, you're probably like me, where you want to learn a little bit more about NFTs, might know a little bit, might have seen a couple NFT 101 videos, but still have lots of questions. So make sure you drop all those questions and comments in the chat for Malik, Jerome, and Nelson, and we'll get to them throughout this chat. So before we get started, I'll quickly introduce myself. As your host, I'm Catherine with Yellow Brick. I live in Toronto and I work in marketing at Adidas Canada. I actually just moved over from a sports marketing agency. I also do some freelance consulting on the side, and I own an online vintage shop called Human Goods. So very excited to be your host for this evening, and thank you again, all of you, for being here. So fellas, to kick things off, could each of you introduce yourselves and tell us a bit about who you are, your background, and what you do? Malik, could you kick us off?
Okay, yeah. Thank you, Catherine. My name is Malik Yusef. I'm a poet. I don't know. I'm a producer, poet, right? Stuff like that. Fashion. Just a person that just does work in the creative space. Mm-hmm. So that's what I do. I run a program called Bad Kids Camp that became that we've been doing about 7 years, and then we became digital in the digital space as of almost a year ago. And it's been doing really well. We've been doing some incredible work, and I think that's really it.
Nice.
That I am.
Appreciate it. Appreciate the background. Jerome, could you introduce yourself next?
Yes, thank you. Yeah, my name is Jerome. I'm from San Francisco, California. I'm a filmmaker. Been doing it for about 2 decades now. So filmed with Vice, Sundance, and I got to work with a lot of great crews like 0.0, Anthony Bourdain's crew. And so I'm a creator, I'm a filmmaker, and I love telling stories.
Amazing. Appreciate that. Nice to meet you. And Nelson, could you introduce yourself?
Yeah. Nelson, I'm a Pisces. I enjoy water sports. No, I'm messing with. No, yeah, I've been Malik's partner for a long time. I started a management company that he became partners in 12 years ago. We got into production, BTB Partners. 3 years ago, I got into NFTs. I jumped into crypto early in 2013. Got into NFTs early in 2019. Right now, we run NFT initiatives for Super Plastic. We've done launches for Christie's. We run initiatives for Ambush, the clothing line, and a couple of their far-fetched companies, as well as Bait and Undefeated. And yeah, our team, we've done about 24 million in primary sales in NFTs over the last 12 months and about 187 million in secondary. So I'm a behind the scenes guy. Malik sometimes lets me get out and talk to people. So this was kind of fun to come out, Yeah. But yeah, I'm a behind the scenes strategist and tech. So we jumped in heavy in NFTs pre-COVID. Mm-hmm. So
amazing. So I think for the people on the line, love to start off just by giving a quick overview. And Nelson, maybe you can start us off, but just a quick overview on what are NFTs?
NFTs are what are called non-fungible tokens. Now, it basically, imagine having something that is new, that is original, and it holds provenance. Provenance is a term that means beginning, right? What the blockchain does is the blockchain for a non-fungible token creates the provenance at that moment, meaning it creates a clear line of ownership, right? Now, there's different, if people understand crypto, like Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all of those are fungible tokens, meaning they can be traded on an exchange. They're multiples. They're not original in a sense of one Bitcoin is not differentiated from the other, right? So non-fungibles, there are, without confusing people too much. Depending on the type of contracts, now most non-fungibles to the layman are what are considered ERC contracts, Ethereum contracts, and they started as ERC20 tokens. They evolved to an ERC 721 smart contract, which is what most people know as the NFTs today, the art NFTs. You have ERC 1155 contracts. So if someone is researching NFTs and they see a collection that has a multiple of the identical ones, and they're like, wait a minute, that's fungible. No, that is an 1155 contract, considered a semi-fungible contract that can have duplicates, but each individual NFT still has a very distinct token ID. So is that what you wanted? I can get real nerd with this shit. Oh, I'm sorry.
No,
I'm sorry about that.
that's okay.
That's
That's perfect. And honestly, for everyone listening, this conversation will be recorded. So if you forget some of the terms like I did, you can learn a bit more about them after. So really appreciate the thorough intro. I think it'll help a lot of people. And perhaps this one's directed more to Malik or Jerome. We'd love to hear from your perspective how NFTs are impacting the life of creators and what makes you so interested in it.
I think that there's a bit of a misnomer about the NFT space, and me and Nelson talk about this at length, that people think that it's like this new salvation, like it's a Christ level event, and it's not. This is not going to save you from doing the hard work. You're not going to create an NFT, throw it up in the air, and then everything's live happily ever after. There's no Disney moment here. The big companies that we all know who they are, the big labels, the Interscopes of the world, and so on and so forth, they're just like you. They're trying to get into this NFT space to control the thing that most people are here to do, which is talk about music. People are coming in to talk about, I want to NFT my music. The problem with NFT, because you can't create a new provenance with copyright. The problem is the popular songs have various copyrights and several copyrights. The unpopular songs, which is by independent artists that haven't had any bandwidth, that haven't escaped the mundanity of the morass of the internet yet, they aren't as valuable. See, so that's where the problem lies. There's a dilemma inside of a dilemma, and an enigma inside of that enigma. So what we are looking to do is break free with these non-fungible tokens, to break free from the linear and sequential space that you have to do. You have to get a record deal. Then you have to become famous. Then you have to put your music out. Then you have to pay $200,000 for people to see your video. We're trying to circumvent that and say, hey, let's be creative. Let's do a, and I will say this, a contingency plan and a corollary space where there's something happens in the physical realm and something that also happens in the digital realm. And that's where the sweet spot is. And that's what everybody's trying to get to. And by Nelson being a genius and Coach Malone, everybody comes to get these NFTs done because Nelson is a genius in every part, musical, marketing genius, so on and so forth. But NFT space is an expert because he went through all the fumbles, and he's seen people fumble, and he's taken that and learned from it, right? So what happens is that we come in and say, hey, I'm going to make this a digital image of myself with my thing hanging out, and people are going to buy that as my NFT. Not that they won't, but the music that's associated to it. Can you use the music? Can you musicate this product? And if you own a product, if you own a music outright, and you have, just like yesterday, we were doing the Gap commercial, and Universal was slow to give back my consent. So Kanye called like, yo, the Gap commercial, I'm saying, hey, blah, blah, blah song on the Gap commercial, what's going on? I'm like, oh, so I called Universal. We had 45 minutes to get that done. If you are even an independent artist and you have an engineer, a producer, your ex-girlfriend or boyfriend was co-writing for you, and you were in that space and you can't get up to them to get this and create this new provenance with this copyright, you're going to fail. So imagine that being 100 times when you're signed to Def Jam or Sony or, you know, death row, it doesn't matter. It's going to be very difficult to move in that space. So what we're here to do is try to give a solution to artists in that space to say, hey, here's how you go in with your split sheet. And Bad Kids Class and Camp does a lot of this work for you. Come in, and then you add the art. Then you bring in artists of note. But it's also the platform that you're on. So is it true that you can make a lot of money off NFTs? NFTs, of course, you can make a lot of money off anything. You can make a lot of money off selling Tylenol. So that we know there's money to be made. But how you approach it, how you systemize it is going to be very important. And especially with the older artists that have these big songs like Sugar Hill Gang, hip hop, the hip. I would buy NFT of that right now. But they can't do it because they can't come to a solution on the copyright on a smart contract. Smart contract, let's just say contract, because we ever say smart contract, that's not different than a contract. It's just a contract. And the provenance is just where the song began at, or where this artwork began at. It's clothing, if it's music, if it's visual art, doesn't matter. So I'm here to demystify and also bring some reality at the same time to this concept that artists have of, I'm going to do an NFT, I'm going to NFT my album and I'm going to win, because you're going to, I mean, I'm saying like the old school artists that are redoing their project. Just because you're redoing it, this is creating a new master, not a new copyright. It's creating a new master, not a new copyright, right? A new mechanical. So.
Okay. Appreciate the overview of how what this looks like and is meaning for the music industry and the role you're playing to kind of destigmatize or demystify it. So that's really great. And Jerome, I'd love to hear from you as well on what this sort of looks like within film, video, and the arts.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I mean, with the whole NFT craze, the first thing to kind of tick off was the art, like the JPEG aspect of it. Right. And so when that was happening, a lot of the filmmakers were just kind of sitting in the background. It's like, wow, this is something that's taken off. Right. And the film aspect, I would say it's still kind of in this wild, wild west, still kind of in the dark ages of NFTs, just because a lot of it is still maturing. Right. And I think people are still trying to find out what an NFT is. And at the same time, it's like, oh, well, by the way, you can even like attach a film production to an NFT where right, if you buy an NFT, you could write it into the smart contract or the contract that all the funds are distributed, right, across everyone who had to play an ownership into that collaboration of production.
Right.
Yeah, the MFN aspect of it is right. You're right about that, Jerome. The most favored nations where everybody gets a ubiquitous stake in that. I'm sorry.
Okay.
No, and that's right. And that's the great thing, is to be in that space. We saw all these different collaborations that happened in that space with filmmakers and artists. And so, and how it was a maze of creators and then working with developers and just coming up with these solutions where they could, right, have the art, have ownership in the art that they were minting onto the blockchain. Right. And a great maze of collaborations came out of that. And out of that collaborations, you see them positioning into partnerships with a lot of the bigger companies today. Right. You see a lot of the bigger companies today swooping up some of these early crypto players.
Can I touch on that?
Yeah, no, please. Please. Yeah.
You know, because I mean, to your Malik's point, in layman terms, the blockchain doesn't lie. Right. So it's built for independent artists, and it's built for people to build community around what they do. And you know exactly who's getting paid. And, you know, to Jerome's point right now, it's like, you can become a rock star in anything you do through NFTs. It's been proven. Right. So I think that's the for me as a, you know, I've been a talent manager for 15 years, and to see what NFTs have done for independent music artists, independent muralists, street artists, like a lot of my graffiti homies, they bought houses this year because they were able to do it, and they were able to find their community through the NFT space. And that to me is a beautiful thing. and using technology and also the coders. A lot of these coders are now celebrities.
Yeah.
You know, that, you know, it's crazy. Like these people that would just sit there and you may not even recognize them, and they're at Starbucks coding the next big thing. They're celebs just like the music artists. It's really cool to see. So I didn't mean to jump in, but we had a nice little flow right there, and I just want to jump in.
No, that's great.
Just let y'all know, Nelson and I, we work on films as well. So we're filmmakers as well. You know, I've got, you know, we got a couple Emmys. I think we got 5 Emmys. We got a lot of awards. The last big film we did had Michael K. Williams in it. Peace be upon him. Rest in peace, Big Michael. So we do this, and that space is open. Now, I know people are saying like, okay, well, what do you mean money, right? Because there's an ethereal part of this, of the money in crypto. First of all, people don't understand crypto that much, right? People don't understand crypto, but they also need to understand that cryptocurrency is a real currency. Like you said, it's fungible, you know, these are fungible tokens. And the smart contract tells you who gets paid. When the money comes in, every penny that comes in gets distributed in equal parts to the people that own the provenance or have the smart contract. So it goes into your crypto wallet. That's how it works. And I think people look at it like, does somebody take $1 and rip it to pieces? No, you don't get $1 ripped to pieces. You get the smart contract tells you where the money goes. You don't have to talk to me. If you're in the NFT with me, you don't have to talk to me about giving you your money. If I'm on an island somewhere and I decide to go on smoke a pound of weed and go to sleep for 2 days, you don't have to worry about where Malik is, you know? That's one of the great things about it. It's not like we're dealing with like a company, so to speak,
right?
Where they have to pay, you know?
Okay, so different landscape. And Nelson, like to go back to you. So pretend I'm starting from absolute ground zero and I want to buy my first NFT. How do I go about doing that?
A great question. What you'll want to first do is you want to purchase a cryptocurrency that's traded in the block, you know, traded in NFTs. The most popular one is, of course, Ethereum, but there are NFTs on other blockchains like Solana, Cardano, Binance. Binance is an blockchain has NFTs, and I mean, you have Avalanche, you have some other Polygon, but I think the two right now that are really front and center are Ethereum, of course. They own probably 92% of the market in regards to trading, and then you have Solana. Solana is getting very popular. So what you would do is either buy on Coinbase. I personally use crypto.com because their transfers are immediate. Coinbase holds your money for 7 days. Crypto.com, I can go in and I can cash out into Ethereum up to $25,000 a week, unless I connect my bank account in there. But I can do 25,000 in 1 day, and it goes into my MetaMask right afterwards, or wallet. So I'm going to try to do this as layman's as possible, and like so people understand, right? So you get an account on Coinbase or another crypto exchange. You have Binance, you have crypto.com. I prefer crypto.com because of the ease. It's extremely easy. What you then do is you'll then download a trusted wallet. Now, you either have a phantom wallet is a wallet used for Solana. A lot of these blockchains have different wallets that are used, but again, I'm going to go based off of Solana and Ethereum. And stop me if I'm talking too much, but I just want to walk you through this. Right?
No, this is great. Thank you.
So you have a phantom wallet or an Ethereum or Ethereum wallet, which can be a trust wallet, a Coinbase wallet. Myself, for security purposes, I only trade on a MetaMask wallet. MetaMask wallet's functionalities and their in-app browser system allows you to buy NFTs through their browser in the app, making it extremely easy and secure for not only your crypto, but for your NFTs. So then you would go and download a MetaMask wallet. You download that. It's going to give you what's called a seed phrase. You have to write that down. Don't take a picture of it. Don't put it in your phone. write it down on a piece of paper, just like old people used to do, and put that in a safe. Write it down 2 or 3 times, and then what I get is little postcards, so little mini, like when you would have to try to memorize shit, you'd write. So I'm sorry, I just cussed again. A word in the front and on the back, it's a clue. Write those down 2 or 3 times, and then put them in a safety deposit box. Put it in your bank. That is your key in. If you lose that, you will lose your wallet, right? And safety for everybody. Do not ever give anyone your seed phrase. Not anyone. It, like, because NFTs are getting so popular, scams are out there. So they'll try to scam you, like, oh, you just won a free Bored Ape or this and that. You didn't win anything. It's a scam. Don't click on a link. Don't give them your seed phrase. Like, err on the side of caution, right?
And Bored Ape is not giving anything away for free. Trust
Bored
me.
Ape is not giving any. Well, they do. I mean, they give the serums and stuff, but like, that's been passed. They're not They're not airdropping anything. They are airdropping. So I minted 25 apes. So like, I've done pretty well. And what they're doing now is, this coming year, they're actually tokenizing. So if you hold an ape or a mutant ape or a kennel club, Shiba or Doge, you're going to get airdropped currency, right? So what you want to do is, after you get your MetaMask, you then transfer over Ethereum to that MetaMask, okay? Or you transfer over Solana to your Phantom wallet. You then want to hop on a trusted trading platform. Now, I'm just going to use Ethereum at this point. You want to really just be careful everywhere. Just do your own research. This is not financial advice, but do your own research. The only place I trade Ethereum NFTs right now are Super Rare, OpenSea, and Foundation. And all 3 have different reasons why. But OpenSea is, think of OpenSea as it's the Apple store for.
It's about to say,
it's the Apple store for NFTs.
Cool.
Yeah, people say it's the Walmart for NFTs. I'm like, it's not the Walmart, it's the Apple store, right? It's where people get approved to put their NFTs on there, and then they get traded. That's for secondary trading or primary trading of an artist. Again, like, you can find a lot of artists that don't have their own websites, so they mint their NFTs on the primary on OpenSea. The issue is that with that, as you evolve, is that their smart contract writing capabilities are very limited. You can only add so much to your smart contract directly minting through OpenSea. As you evolve, like, we have a full dev team. So we're doing 5 drops this month alone with our dev team. We just did a drop for West Lang. I know Malik, West Lang created Ye with Kanye, and he did all the Yeezus merch. So we actually fractionalized his art. We fractionalized 3 physical paintings, and we fractionalized it, and we gamified the whole thing, which is something Malik and I have been working on. We're using it with artists first. We're trying to really nail it down to get it to be super easy and pass through securities laws for music, which ties into, again, the copyright, the master, and all the music industry. I hate the way it's structured. Malik will tell you, like, it's a crooked business, but that's why I love NFTs for musicians, because it really gives it freedom, transparency, and you get your money. It takes you 111 million streams to make $500,000 as a recording artist, and it then takes you 6 months to get that money, if that.
If sometimes 8 months.
Yeah, you can make $500,000 selling 1,000 NFTs for $500, and you get the money right away.
Right.
So, did that answer your question though? Like,
absolutely, that did answer the question so well. So appreciate
and also I wanted to add something in too, because everybody's worried about gas prices. Oh, I don't do my MST because the gas prices are too high. Ethereum is pretty consistent with their fuel prices. Like, they're pretty consistent. I think that's one reason why Ethereum works so well in NFT space, because of consistency.
Well, let me touch on that, right? Can I touch on that? Like, just to get on the contract side. It does work extremely well on 1155 contracts. That does mitigate gas wars, because batch minting does make gas cheaper. When you do 721 drops, and this is why I think a lot of people are now starting to do like paced out pre-sale drops to minimize gas wars for their clients. Like it can get high if a jerk really wants to have the number one, because gas prices can be throttled. So someone can go in and say, hey, I want number one, so I'm going to pay $5,000 in gas to make sure I'm first. That's
Right,
how they,
yeah.
that's how they
That's
snipe
the game.
bored apes.
Yeah.
That's how they snipe bored apes. A lot of whales will use techniques where they have an automatic throttle on gasoline that the moment a low priced ape or blue chip NFT happens, it'll automatically snipe it. It won't even give a person a chance to take it back.
True.
That's why you see a lot of mistakes, people selling high-end NFTs for 4 ETH when they meant to put 400 ETH, right? Because there's literally whales waiting for that to happen. They have a bot. It's called a bot. Someone brought up Immutable X in the chat. I'll just briefly talk about that because that is a high-level discussion. But Immutable X is cool, but that's a layer 2 to layer 1 solution for NFTs and coins. So you still pay a lot of gas converting a layer 2 asset to a layer 1 asset, a layer 1 asset being an ERC asset. So Immutable X, DAI, there is a lot of tokens that are building out ecosystems for that. But when you're trying to then trade and sell, if you stay on layer 2, your buying audience is so much smaller. That's what people don't look at. When building an NFT project, you have to forecast, like where am I going to get my buying audience? So if you do it on a layer 2 platform that has a small buying audience, you're not creating a future of sustainability. You know, again, because then you're just playing in a pond. When a layer 1 asset in OpenSea, you're playing in the Pacific, the Atlantic, the Dead Sea, the Mediterranean Sea. You're playing in all of them. So that was a good question. There are a lot of cool things that are happening there. Gary Vee is trying to push for layer 2 usage in Immutable X, but I don't think it's going to be adapted from a mass perspective until after we have probably 5 million people trading. And we're at maybe 700,000 people in this world are trading NFTs. So it's still, for anyone out there, you're still very, very, very early.
Yeah, like Jerome said, it's very early in the game. And I know that we have fashion designers that came into the room, and I want to address the fashion aspect of this because fashion is art, right? So you can do, as a matter of fact, I don't know if we can say for who, Nelson, but we're doing a fashion piece for a music artist right now, because he probably can't do his music because he signed to a major label, but he can do this fashion piece. He has this incredible moto jacket, right? Leather moto jacket that he created. Art, did all the patches, did all the hard artwork on it. So you can take that and you can digitize that piece and then have a real world implication of it as well. You can also have the real world piece. So think about NFTs when they first started. Michael Jordan's shoe, Michael Jordan's basketball, it was a real world implication. Then you own part of this, of the digital piece of it. So this basketball that he made, his 75th bucket or whatever it was, 75th dunk. And then you say, oh, that's worth X amount of dollars in the real world. Now let's NFT it, and it explodes it by like 100,000%. So it's the same thing with clothing in the NFT space, the same thing with any physical thing. And Jerome, you know this, and we know this term is called phygital. So they're mixing phygital and digital together, the phygital space. So there's a physical implication, and then there's a digital implication as well. The digital is far more reaching, more people can own it, more people can be part of it. And like Nelson said, he hates the way the music industry is structured. Obviously, I do too, because a lot of times we have to live off of our music money. We have to live off our music money. So we have to say, okay, hey, music money just came in. Let's put 50,000 to this or whatever like that. And sometimes if it's not coming in when it's supposed to, that 50,000 is not available. So it's set up wrong. It's set up for the house to win in music. It's set up for the big boys, the big people to win, only for the big people to win. And if you win a little bit, they're cool with it. So I just wanted to say that about the physical, about the clothing space. Nelson, do you want to say anything else about that? About the fashion space?
Yeah. And I can talk about, one of our key clients is Ambush Official, with Verbal, from the music space, and also Yoon is the head designer for Dior. And then they also have an amazing Nike collab, which is the bomb. But some of the stuff that we're doing with them is mixing music and fashion and taking it into the metaverse. We are doing something really cool for Milan Fashion Week, I'll say that, with Ambush, where we're making something extremely experiential, where people can interact with people in the metaverse when they're somewhere at a real event. So
Cool.
we're really, Malik will tell you, I've been pushing the Phygital merger for probably the last 2 years. And, again, one positive out of COVID is that it allowed tech to speed up really fast, and it allowed companies to gamble with their tech. And we're going to be the benefits of it, because the joy of Web3 and NFTs, it's meant for people to have individual wealth and pipelines to reach people directly. The pipelines of connectivity with consumers has now been streamlined. You don't have to go through a lot of hoops, or you don't have to hire a major marketing firm to get what you need done.
Well, definitely looking forward to seeing that come to life with Ambush in Milan. That sounds unreal, and appreciate you both getting started on some of our audience questions. Do you have a question here from Jeffrey that I'd love to put to the three of you? Jeffrey asked, how would you suggest a music artist starts making and minting an NFT if they have an idea? Is there a website that you would suggest?
I think the site is Meta University. I'll put it in the chat.
Perfect, thank you.
Meta University.
Okay.
That we all use
for learning tools.
Huh?
Yeah, for learning tools and how-tos and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Meta University. Thank you.
And do your research. Hold on. Do your research. Look at some of the successes and failures in music and how it's been, done. One of the biggest things I always tell people: do your research in NFTs. Look at the failures and look at things that they could have done differently. Like, God bless Lupe Fiasco, but he was DOA when he got into the NFT space, right? Because it was not managed properly. There's also a really cool group called Warp Sounds. They're doing AI music, so generative music, and they're launching here in January. They've been working at it for a long time. Research what others are doing, be creative. Then it's metaversity is what you're thinking, Malik. So it's hit metaversity, and then learns the ins and outs of that kind of management. And then don't do it by yourself. As you grow, find people that will help you and work with you, because you'll get so much farther into what can truly be done. A lot of these NFT projects that we hop into, the pie is split, fairly between devs and marketing and the biz dev side, and then the artists. And I always tell people it's better to have 50 to 60% of $100 million than 90% of $2 million, right? So if you wanna really get into this, find your crew, find the people that really can help you accomplish the things you want to accomplish, and share the wealth.
And also too, go ahead, Jerome.
Oh no, I'm thinking, right, you want to find your crew, right? And if you're in music and you're not in crypto, you kind of want to make friends in crypto.
Yes.
Right? That's a whole new audience, a whole new community and space. So when you drop your music, you kind of want to make sure you warmed up the waters with a balance of the crypto crowd and the real crowd who's down for new experiences.
And the crypto crowd, to Jerome's point, he's spot on. The crypto crowd is going to buy your stuff if you've made an authentic connection to them. They won't even listen to it, but they see that you have an NFT out, they're gonna buy it because they want you to win.
True.
And Yeah. And so make sure
Yeah.
also to like follow a bunch of NFT Twitter. Follow everybody on this stage, but follow NFT Twitter. Try not to get all your information off of Instagram. NFT Twitter is really where you get a lot of good insight, and then hop into a few Discords, because you'll want to eventually build your own Discord.
Yeah.
Okay.
And also,
go ahead, Nick.
I was gonna say this too. We talked earlier, I don't know if everybody was in here or not. We talked about the provenance. We talked about starting the copyright. The copyright laws are immutable. You can't change the copyright laws just by saying, I don't want this to happen. The RIAA is in charge. If you have somebody sample, if you have a production that you got off the internet and saying, I'm going to use this, it's liable to be slaughtered. And we call it slaughtering in this industry because that's what it is. They'll go into your actual, if you work at Postmates, they'll go into your Postmates account and take your money away if you transgress upon copyright laws. So as you start these songs, as everybody's going to do their NFTs, which is smart to do, you have to make sure that everybody has a contract with you. A split sheet is a contract. It's a usable contract. It's a legal contract. It's legal and binding to get the split sheet with everybody involved. You can tell them that you're doing an NFT. They might say, I want more, that could happen. But you need to tell them, hey, I need your information and I need your signature on this paper. Because if you don't, you will get slaughtered. The reason why you saw what happened with Dame Dash, you saw what happened with Big Bro, with Hove, with their NFT. The NFT didn't even perform well. You know why? Not because people don't want a piece of Jay-Z. Of course they do. Too complicated. Too much legalities. People are afraid to invest their money in something that might be taken away. You feel what I'm saying to you? So even because right now you're up and coming artist, but anything can happen. You can get you see what happened to King Chip. A 10-year-old song became a hit during quarantine on TikTok. Interior crocodile alligator. I drive a Chevrolet movie theater. That's a 10-year-old song.
Right.
Luckily, he had all the split sheets in order. He got that's my brother. He got a bag, G. So you never know when it's gonna bust. So do the work now. Even if I'm just a small artist, that's just a small producer, that's just my homie. Doesn't matter. The contract is for when we're not friends anymore. That's what the contract is for. Not when we can talk to each other. When we stop talking to each other, when we don't come to each other's house for Thanksgiving anymore. That's what the contract is for. That's why the split sheet is important. Don't feel bad. Make it regular life to get a split sheet when you go into the studio with somebody. It's not offensive. It's not offensive. And that's what the contract is. And that's a smart contract in and of itself. A contract is just a smart contract is just a contract. And that creates the provenance. Now you have no problem moving that piece for the rest of your life and 76 years after your death, copyright through the metaverse.
And Jerome, was there something you wanted to add to that? I noticed you're off mute for a sec.
I mean, we're talking about provenance, right, and trust, and how to do right, and right. It's the blockchain is so encrypted, and so that there's still this element of trust that can happen, right, amongst creators and people in the community. And maybe one thing I want to add, like what Nelson said, go on Twitter Spaces. It's not on Instagram, and also go on Twitter Spaces and Clubhouse rooms, and you get to hear and create rooms. So that, like, for that question, when you drop your song, you already built these communities in audio and other spaces. And these are essentially metaverse spaces, right? It's kind of like on that shallow end of it. And so start building your metaverse community, right, in these spaces, and it's not that hard.
I think in building a community is a great note to end on. And Malik, Nelson, Jerome, the past 40 minutes of you guys have spit so much knowledge, and I think it's been so informative for so many people, myself included. So thank you so much for your time and your thoughtful responses. I know that we all really appreciate it. And for everyone who's listening, just know that this will be recorded and it'll be sent out on yellowbrick.learn on Instagram. So make sure you're following at yellowbrick.learn so you can get this recording. So if you couldn't take notes fast enough, you can read up on it after. So on that note, again, thank you so much for your time. This was so informative. I definitely learned a lot, and I'll definitely be rewatching the recording. So it was a pleasure to meet and speak with all three of you. Thank you.
I appreciate y'all. Also, badkidsclass.com. We're gonna have a whole class on the NFT space, and don't forget about metaversity.
Metaversity.
VURSECITY. METAVURSECITY, I believe.
Okay, noted. We'll post it on the yellowbrick.learn as well for anyone who didn't get that. But again, thank you so much. Really appreciate your time. And hope you have a great night. Thank you.
Take care. Y'all be good.
Bye.
All right, bro. I'll see y'all
Peace, y'all.
more.